What is up, everyone? Welcome back to a brand new video on Lex Alexas. Today I'm going to talk to you about my reaction to the championship playoff games from leg 1. There's a lot of controversy, a lot of big results, but obviously tomorrow, as of recording this video, we're going to have the second leg game between Huddersfield and Luton, and then the day after that I'm going to be seeing Nottingham Forest going up against Sheffield United. I'll be streaming both of these games as well, so guys, make sure you do keep an eye on my channel because I will be streaming those games, live reactions, goals going in and all of that, and the implications of that season. And we'll find out within that Tuesday who will be playing in the championship playoff final in the 29th of May at Wembley Stadium. So there's a lot of things to talk about. So obviously my reaction to the first leg games and my predictions for the second leg are the things that are going to be covered in this video today. If you guys like this setup and you guys like what you see, please give the video a like. It does tremendously help the growth of this channel. It's free to do and it really does help. Please do hit that subscribe button. It really will be appreciative, especially if you want to see more championship content from me. The best way to get into that content quickly is to subscribe. And please share this channel to as many people as you can too, because that really helps the growth of this channel. But without any further ado, let's talk about my reaction so far to the championship playoffs. So the first game between Luton and Huddersfield, which I did stream live, ended as a 1-1 draw. And I got to say, it was a much better result for Luton. I predicted a 1-0 win to Huddersfield, and they did take the lead in that game, but supposedly against the runner play as well. If you see the attack momentum near the top here, you can see that in that first half, Luton were brilliant. They had pretty much 90% of that first half were being the better team going forward there. They were absolutely brilliant. That big spike there was when Huddersfield got the lead. It was actually Daniel Sinani with the goal. And you've got to really give credit to Harry Toffolo. He was the one that put in the through ball to find Sinani. Great shot. Ingram, I think, should do better. Shouldn't get beaten at his near post. The shot isn't that strong either. So Ingram definitely going at a 6.3 rating. I can really understand why, based on that poor goal that he let in. But Luton did well to equalise. Sonny Bradley, the captain, managed to equalise. It was a free kick situation actually, so it was brilliant play actually by Luton. Naismith with the free kick and Bradley with the goal in the end. But static defending, and I've got to say, I think one of the most gamble things that Corberan did was putting Hogg as a centre back. I know he can play centre back before, and he has played it before quite a few times, but I prefer him playing in that defensive mid position rather than a full-blown centre back. He's just basically covering gaps, obviously, with him having Matty Pearson not available in the squad. So I don't know, because I felt at times whilst he was present and he was good at organising the team, but in his own performance, I think he could have done a bit better there. So in terms of how feisty the game was, I mean, there was pretty much only one yellow card actually, which went to the way of Cal Naismith, and then Rhodes, the substitute who got on for Huddersfield, got one in pretty much near the final minutes of the game. Nathan Jones complained about the decisions. There were both really strong penalty decisions for both teams. Personally, Luton's one's definitely more stronger than the other. And one thing I will ask a question to all of you guys in the comments. What do you think the scoreline would be now? Or what do you think would have been awarded if we had VAR? Would we have had yellow cards turned to red cards? Would we have had potentially penalties? Or how many penalties for both sides? So let me know what you think would have happened if the EFL kept with their decision to get VAR in the playoff semi-finals. We know it will be in the final of Wembley, which will be very interesting. But they were originally planned for the semi-finals, but they were scrapped. So as you can see here, with the possession stats, it is quite interesting. So 51 to 49 overall. But to really talk about the tale of two halves, look at that. 61 to 39 in the way of Luton, but second half, 66 and 34 in the way of Huddersfield. So Corberan deserves credit because Luton were definitely the better team in the first half. The second half, you know, if I want to see the, you know, look at this, 0 shots on target. Barely anything happened. Basically, the tactic for Huddersfield was do not concede another goal. They would take a draw going into John Smith, and I think that is why they have done that. I think it was a really good equal game, 1-1, and I've got to say I was a little bit surprised with that outcome. So now I'll give my prediction for this game. So what we're going to look at first, I mean, this is talking about the 1-1 draw here. But what I really do want to look at with these teams is that I really want to actually try and look at the head-to-head record between these teams. So as you can see, the last time they played at John Smith was 2-0 Huddersfield. Now this was very, very recent. As you can see, 11th of April, and I remembered covering it. It was one of our few midweek games that we had to cover. John Russell and Naby Sarr with the 2 goals. Look at that second goal in the 89th minute, killing Luton's chances. Because for what I remember, first half didn't really show too much. Second half, Luton were a little bit improved, but Huddersfield took their chances, and that ultimately is why they edged it. Pippa with the assist, and then Sorba Thompson with the second one. I knew there was a penalty miss for Luton in that game, so had Adebayo missed scored his penalty, then I think it would have been a very interesting game. That would have made it 1-1 at the time. I don't think there's going to be a lot that separates these two sides when it goes into their official game. As a prediction, this is so hard to predict because I can really see both of these teams really thinking that they still got a chance. When you get a draw carried into the second leg game, it really does add something. It adds more pressure to both teams, really, for the fact they got a seemingly good result. But I think Huddersfield, was slightly happier because their performance was definitely not as great as they have been previously. But the fact they still draw in that game, I actually think that's really, really going to give Huddersfield the edge here. As a prediction, it's at John Smith's, and I think, still based with Luton having a couple players injured, I think Huddersfield have just got a stronger core squad with depth at the moment. And I think at home, Huddersfield, whilst Luton will be spirited like they were in the first leg game, I think Huddersfield may edge them here. I'm going to go for a 2-1 victory to Huddersfield Town, which will mean the aggregate at the end of this tie would be 3-2 to Huddersfield. Guys, make sure you comment those predictions in the comments down below as well. I'll be very interested to see what you guys are all predicting. So the final playoff game that happened that we're going to talk about is Sheffield United and Nottingham Forest. And as you can see, it was the away team, Nottingham Forest, that picked up their win. Now, both of these teams don't have a really favourable playoff record. So it was very interesting to see how they're going to attack each other going into this game. And I've got to say, it was a huge moment, actually, for Nottingham Forest, especially to get this win. Now, if you can see the attack momentum, you can see it was a lot more even across the two halves. Now, you can see, second half, you can arguably say Sheffield United looking better. But one thing I'll make clear is that on the ball, they were better. But I've got to say, apart from that, in terms of chances, Nottingham Forest could have been out of sight in the first half. They had 3 to 4 huge chances. It's absolutely ridiculous. And one stat that keeps getting thrown at me that I can't escape from my Twitter page is talking about Brennan Johnson. So Brennan Johnson, the reason why people are talking about it is because there's a bit of history. Because his father, David Johnson, about, I think it was 9 years ago to this day, he scored a playoff semi-final goal against Sheffield United. Unfortunately, on that day, Nottingham Forest for them actually lost out against Sheffield United. If you remember, in that year, that was when Sheffield United actually gained promotion into the Premier League. But Brennan Johnson managing to do what his father did over 19 years later. I mean, it's unbelievable. It's unbelievable for parallels, the same days there. And apparently, it both came from a defensive mistake. Obviously, for Brennan Johnson, it was John Egan that just held on to the ball. He was too slow. And I've got to say, well done to Joe Nolly. Joe Nolly, I've got to say, has been kind of a forgotten player because he's not really been the same player as he was like 2-3 years ago when he was really hyped. But I've got to say, he's really had a big impact in that moment. He won the ball back off Egan, and then Stevens tries to defend it. Brennan Johnson, right place, right time, scores it past Nottingham, and that made it 2-0. Where at that time, based on how good Forest had been with their chances, you know, I'm just going to show again, the amount of big chances they had was 5, which is ridiculous, and they missed 3 of them. So one thing that Nottingham Forest could live to regret is the amount of missed chances they had, and also the fact that Sheffield United, despite having moments, you know, I wouldn't say Sheffield United were completely awful, but they definitely were below par what they had previously shown at Bramall Lane. Bramall Lane was seen as a fortress, but definitely had some weaknesses there with this Forest side who are looking very spirited. But Sander Berge in the 91st minute from a corner, which Nottingham Forest should defend, you know, any day of the week. You know, set piece defending so, like, crucial to these playoff games. And Sheffield United, fair play to them, they kept pushing, they eventually got a goal from Sander Berge, Gibbs White with the assist. Now, could that consolation be a really important moment in this playoff game? Because obviously, Nottingham Forest have got the lead going into their home game in the City Ground in the second leg, which is great, but they've got to still complete the job. They can't completely have a nervous performance, you know, at home. They really got to attack this Sheffield United side like they did at their place. So if they score first, I think it's going to be game over. But if Sheffield United score first, it's going to make things very interesting, I'll tell you that. One thing that's important with Nottingham Forest, with their last 6 games, with their form, Nottingham Forest have been one of the, well, they've had a flawless home run, really. 6 wins in a row. And with Sheffield United's away form, you look at them there, 16th place. 5 points picked up in their last 6 away games. They did win their last one against Queen's Park Rangers, and that was a very good performance on their part. What we see is this Nottingham Forest side really strong at home, and the Sheffield United side really bad away. So it would be very like the Championship if somehow Sheffield United find a way to win, and they somehow, you know, put the game to extra time. It will make things really exciting, I'll tell you that. There's nothing more for what I want to have a really exciting game in this playoff. As a prediction going to the second leg of this game, there's not really been many moments in terms of going to determine who's going to be in the squad for injuries, etc. It was very interesting for me to see Keenan Davis substituted back on for Sam Surridge. For that, he's made that quick of a recovery. Fair play to Keenan Davis. I thought he was out for the season, so fair play on his part. He could be very crucial too. But currently, Nottingham Forest lead by 2-1, and I just have a very sneaky suspicion that I think Nottingham Forest could get the job done. But what I will think, I think both teams are going to be very nervy, but I think more than anything, I think Forest are really going to have to show their bottle. I remember actually when Swansea were at home against Barnsley with Steve Cooper's second leg game, they got a really good away win, but in their home game when they were much better, they actually only drew by one goal each, because Barnsley were really pushing for something there. And I think we could get very similar circumstances, so I wouldn't even be surprised if Nottingham Forest score first, but then Sheffield United to make things very nervous to score an equaliser. And I think I'll actually end as a draw. I'm going to go for a 1-1 draw in this game. Let me know, guys, what you think may happen in these games in the comments down below. So, guys, that will wrap it up for my prediction and my review of the latest playoff standings and results. Let me know, guys, what your current thoughts are in the comments down below. And let me know your predictions as well. And, guys, make sure you catch me live when I'm talking about these playoff games as well. Obviously, Monday, Huddersfield, Luton. Tuesday, Nottingham Forest, Sheffield United. It should be a real corker. Please do hit the like button for this video. It would be really appreciated. Please hit the subscribe button. It really helps. And please share this video to as many people as you can. All of that really helps the channel. Thank you guys so much for watching. You guys are legendary. If it's on the end of this video. And as always, I'll see you guys soon. Take care, everyone.